Kia ora and welcome back to the Run Adjacent podcast, sponsored by Trek, Trail and Fish. My name's Hayden and I've got Hannah riding along with me today. Today we're talking to Chris Newson and Helen Waterworth from His and Hers Events. They are prolific trail runners specialising in backyard ultras. We're going to learn a little about them, get some tips on how to do backyard ultras properly, learn about how they quit their jobs and started His and Hers Event Kitz, and finally talk about the Whangarei 512 Challenge, which is a new trail run event which they have put together, which runs between the 1st of January and the 30th of April.
All right, welcome to the podcast, Chris and Helen.
Thanks, guys. Thanks
for having us.
No worries. We're super stoked to have you here today. So, getting into it, I think the first obvious question is, how did you get into running?
Oh, you go first, Chris.
I guess just through previous sport, cricket and rugby, had to keep fit, and previous job, had to keep fit. So, we're lucky enough to have a gym where I worked for Fens. So, we used to run around the block there. A lot of people see us there. So, pretty much that's where I got onto it. And then, spent a bit of time on the local monga on Mount Parahaka. So, sort of stemmed from there.
Choice. Yeah. Helen?
Yeah, I spent a lot of my youth travelling. My first stint was backpacking Aussie, and the best way to see wherever you travel is to get out and run and get off the beaten track. Long days on the road meant you wanted to get up before the heat of the day and go hit a run before you were sitting in a vehicle. But from there it didn't really stop. Yeah.
Nice. So how many backyard ultras have you guys done?
We're trying to work this out before.
Yeah, so I think Helen's done 6, 7.
Yeah.
And I've done 3. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. 6 or 7.
Yeah, some of those were to do a lap to support Chris because we bounce from each other. One will be running, one will be supporting. So to support the race directors and to see the course itself, sometimes we'll sign up just to even do one lap. But we got hooked back in 2021. I did, and it hasn't really stopped.
Okay, awesome. Well, I've never personally done a backyard ultra. So what advice would you give someone like me that is looking at getting into it?
Firstly, sign up. I think people get scared of these big numbers and totals that are coming from the backyard ultra scene, and so a lot of people won't even give it a go because it's you versus you, and that can be even scarier. There's no finish line, and some people don't want to find that limit, and other people do. So my best piece of advice was, don't go in with a goal of how many laps. Just go as long as you can and give it your best on the day, and have fun because that's what they're all about anyway. Yeah, what would your advice be, Noose?
Yeah, very much the same. Not to have a end goal in mind, just to turn up and enjoy it for what it is.
Which is hard to do.
It is hard to do because a lot of people get caught up in the moment. It's not a point-to-point race, so and there's only one finisher as such. Everyone else is a DNF in it, right? So it's not a race to get first, second, third, fourth, fifth. It's just out there to push your personal boundaries. If people want to get into the ultra scene, it's a really good stepping stone to get into it. So, you could do a lap in 55, 56 minutes and then, head off and do another one, have a 4-minute break. So, or vice versa, you could do a 45-minute lap and then have 15-minute rest and then go out and do another one. So, it's just about enjoying it and turning out for the right reason and challenge yourself mentally and physically, like most people have got the capability. It's just that mental capacity to carry on. So it's a different beast from a point to point. Most definitely. So there's a lot of things that go into it as well.
Yeah. Can we just briefly touch on backyard ultras? So you run 6.7k lap?
Yeah, 7.1.
Oh yeah.
6.71k.
Which is 4.1 miles, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's worked out off in 24 hours is a miler, 160.
Nice. And so you run one lap every hour?
Every hour on the hour.
On the hour.
Yep. So you'll start, say, for a round number, say 9 o'clock in the morning. Then you got to complete that lap by 10 o'clock. There's a 3-minute whistle, 2-minute whistle, 1-minute whistle, then there's a bell to get going. You have to be in the corral, ready to go on the hour. And then you head off and like say you come back and you might have 30 seconds or 5 seconds and it happens, and it's pretty cool because the corral just parts and guys come running in and everyone's
standing together all the time.
Everyone supports each other, which is the cool thing about it, it's a pretty awesome atmosphere. And then they turn around, jump back in the corral, and away they go again. So it's pretty cool.
Can I ask a stupid question? Because I've never really done a backyard ultra, but if you were to do like a lap in 50 minutes, what would you be doing with those 10 minutes that you have?
Myself personally?
Yeah.
My support crew here should be telling me I've gone too fast. Slow down. It's and it's, I guess we got that added benefit, like we when one's running, the other one supports, so we know each other pretty well. But for the start, just hydrating and making sure getting a bit of food on board, and the right food. So we've narrowed down to a pretty good plan of what we have now for our backyard ultras, for what we eat, and it works for us and it might not work for other people. So and that's just trial and error. Like the more you do and the different places you go and you with your body and the different. So each event's different in New Zealand. Like there's some flat ones, there's some ones with vert. So nutrition's slightly different for each one. So mainly just sit down, get the feet up, have a bit of a yarn, listen to a bit of music.
Change
just
clothes.
Change clothes if
care.
You need to. See if you've got any hot spots on your feet. If it's
10
wet.
minutes, you can get a sleep in. Almost.
Yeah, some guys sleep.
Yeah, if you plan to go really long.
2-3 minutes.
Yeah.
It's everyone's got their own strategy, and that's the cool thing about it. What works for me or Helen here's might be completely different to yourself or Hannah here.
And you learn through each one.
And every one you do, you're learning, and we've built a pretty good community with people we know, and we sort of bounce ideas off each other, and
So how do you guys decide between yourselves which one of you participates in each event?
I'm looking forward to
Well,
this. I'm looking forward to this answer.
What is it? Because one of you has to be support each time.
Yeah, so
Okay, right.
because we have silly goals like going past 24 hours or much, much longer even, you need that support crew. And so one of us will take turns. But now that we have the business, it's changed to, it's quite hard to get these runs done and still pack down tents and then actually function the next day. So it's almost paper, scissors, rock. We're also doing it to support our friends who are starting up these events. By us participating, we're there anyway for work now, but also to help entries, and we also have personal goals ourselves. So it was, if you'd asked me this a year ago, we probably fight over which backyard to do, depending on which backyard it is. But now we're maybe take a back seat even from the backyards, because we've done a lot. It does take a toll on the body doing these 24-hour plus. But that's how genuinely we've chosen to do it. Doing it together would be neat.
Be different.
It'd be different.
Be different.
Yeah.
And that's a good, it's if you're gonna do one, have support person that's willing to be straight up with you and have a
supporting's harder than the running.
Yeah.
100%.
It's running is almost the easier part of it. As funny as that might sound, but there's a lot to do in a short amount of time, and the hour goes pretty quick, especially through the night. It can sort of drag on, and depending on which one you're doing, it could be you're sitting in a gazebo or a tent and it's 1 or 2 degrees. So
if the wheels come off, your support crew has to figure out how to get you back out there and what you need.
High pressure.
It's a support, right? And then you come in and they've seen you through the different stages of the event. So I know Helen has told me many a time, just told me to eat something and grab this and go back out there.
It's been a
So,
toddler slapped it out of my hand.
Yeah. So
I don't want it.
yeah, you've got to be able to have that good understanding with your support person, because you might hear some things that you probably don't want to hear as well as the good stuff as well, and that's up to the individual, that's if you want to push yourself to go a little bit further than what you have done previously. So
So Chris, you recently won the first ever river run. Was that down in the Hawke's Bay?
Yeah, down at Whitepuck. Yeah.
How many laps did you complete?
28.
So how far is that? 180?
Yeah, is it 186, I think ish? Yeah, 186 Ks. Yeah, 28 hours.
So Helen, what were you doing between laps to support him?
I went for a jog.
So
Sometimes.
there's your support, right? Yeah. Come back and she's
got
out
it. I was
running.
like,
How did you stay awake for that long?
I actually got some sleep in as well. So
Okay.
from the hours of 11, we have a stretcher bed, part of the kit, by the way. You can hire it. Yeah, so I would from 11 to like the hours of 3, when he went out on his run, I'd jump into bed or the stretcher really quick and try and get at least 10, 15 minutes, 20 even, and then set an alarm, get up, make his noodles or hot drinks, get his electrolytes ready for the next lap. But I knew that he was coming in at about that 52 to 56 minute window, so I knew I could be up and ready. And you got quite a bit of time in that hour to get stuff done. Every support person's different. Some people will just, like Mirren, Harvey, Sam's mum, she's just a trucker, man. She'll just stay up. But I think you do need to look after yourself, because it takes a toll on you as well.
Yeah. And Chris, did you sleep?
No, I didn't sleep.
The whole 28 hours
Nah,
you didn't sleep?
yeah. So I've struggled to sleep on the first night for some reason. I don't know what it is. Yeah. So no, I didn't sleep. I planned to try and probably start getting a bit of sleep later on that afternoon. That was the loose sort of plan we had, but yeah, didn't get to that stage. But yeah, I slept pretty well. After it, I'll tell you that for nothing. Yeah.
Even just closing your eyes, if you've got 30 seconds, 2 minutes, makes a huge difference. Turning your brain off, that's really worth it.
Yeah, but that's just myself. Like, some people can sleep on that first night or during that first day. But yeah, for some reason I've tried, but for some reason I just can't. I'm too awake or too focused on what I'm doing. I'm not too sure.
That's cool.
I couldn't do that. 28 hours of no sleep.
You'll be surprised.
I think that would be harder for me than the 180 Ks. Like the no sleep.
Yeah, so that's all part of it, right? Like, that's all the.
And that's usually the kicker.
That's
too.
the beauty. That's the beauty of the backyard. It's not
navigating all these things.
It's so many different things.
There's so many different variables that you've got to take into account.
Absolutely.
Keeping your heart rate low, getting your nutrition right. Your stomach starts to go after a while. You need variety of things. That sleep that you've just talked about, the temperature, the terrain, training, overtraining, injury, mental strength, and the mental side of things is the big one at the end of the day.
Yeah. Well, I'm very impressed.
Yeah, it's a cool event. So that was their first one they've done down there in the Hawke's Bay, and we know them, the race directors personally, and it's a really cool event.
The money went back into the trails.
The money went back into looking after the trails down there. They lost through the floods.
So what's the name of the event, just so we can let our listeners know in case they're interested?
It's the Hawke's Bay River Run.
Yep.
Hawke's Bay River Run. Okay, perfect. And what time of year is it?
So
it might
be changing, but this year it was October.
Perfect.
Yep. So I'm not too sure next year. We haven't heard the date for next year, but it was October this year. So most of the events are sort of around a similar sort of time frame.
Yeah.
So and it's it's an awesome place, the Hawke's Bay, and it's not in the big city. It's Waipuck's. Was it 45 minutes?
And that's the beauty again about the backyard ultras is genuinely you're only going to get 100 people. So and that's really quite like a small family. And then as it gets longer into the race itself, it dwindles down, and then you really got a small family of people. And you'll find they'll travel around to all the other backyards, and you're catching up with people each time. But Waipuck's just a small event, eh?
Yeah,
But
Yeah, it's a cool little place, just held in the AP Showgrounds and follows the river and comes back, and awesome little single trail there, and bit of limestone that I didn't particularly enjoy, but it's just part of the event. You just got to get it done. But it is what it is, man. Yeah. So and the weather played the game for us too at that time of year. So no, it's good.
Cool. That's super interesting. I don't know much about. It's their relapse events. Is that the other way of calling them, or no? Is that
so Riverhead Relapse.
Oh, is that different? Is that like...
So there's two events. There's Rage Against Riverhead Forest, which is all under the Lactic Turkey branch in the Riverhead Forest by Sean Collins and his family.
Yeah.
And that's held on a separate date. That was actually just recently in November, a couple of weeks ago. Riverhead Backyard Ultra was the first one in New Zealand, and Sean brought that from Laz from Tennessee, which is the OG of the whole thing, and that's in Auckland, and that's run April.
March 2024.
March 2024, and so that's probably our closest one to here, and that was my first one.
So he brought it to New Zealand in 2019 was the first one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, then Pigs Backyard in Dunedin and Crazy's
Christchurch.
In Christchurch, the next couple, and then COVID happened, and so this year alone, 2023, there's 7 affiliated in New Zealand now. So we've just been down to Arrowtown for their inaugural one. Sold out. It was an awesome event.
Amazing.
The River Run was the first one they've had down there.
Scenic Circles, Timaru.
Scenic Timaru, so that was their inaugural this year as well. So it's really picking up.
Taking off. I hadn't heard of it until the last year. Now I just have so many friends that do them. A few people, locals from Whangarei too. That are into them as well.
Yeah, it's cool. Like the beauty of it is like so many people turn up and
get a personal
best. You know, like some people haven't run. I'm just going to pluck a number here, done more than 21k and will do 50 plus, the guy that was the assist, this is really bad, but I've forgotten his name, River Run, his personal best, I think, was 100. So he got to 180 or...
Wow.
And he was looking really good.
That's
he was looking strong. So, that's... and that's the beauty of it. You just... You don't actually know how far you can go until you
test yourself.
Yeah. All right.
So you're signing up?
Yeah. I am actually keen. Cool. We had a little bit of a test event, I suppose, on the weekend. The Heart Air. Where we did something
and that's
similar.
tough because that's all tar seal, is it?
It was so. That's what blew me.
Brutal.
Up, was just my legs just got hammered.
That's a big ask. Doing it on the road.
That's interesting. Okay, good to know. Maybe we were thinking.
But it's all relative, right? Like if you're a road runner, then that's going to be your niche. And if you're trail, then that totally different. So cool.
How was it? Just out of interest,
we loved it. I did. I did. I honestly like what you're talking about in terms of vibes. It was that feeling of community and everyone being in it together, which you might not necessarily get in an event like a marathon, where it's not like that because you're all once the start you
have a place in the pack, don't you?
You're off by yourself unless you're running with a pacer or something like that. Sure. So I loved it that we'd all congregate at the end and we'd all have some
and the lap goes like that because you're having a chat.
And encourage each other and it's cool because it's an event where it's not the fastest person that's going to win necessarily.
No.
And
that could be actually a bad thing.
Yeah. So it's like you're all in it together and it's just like there's only one winner as well.
And you will go further with others as well. When you're having a bad moment, they can help you out of it and vice versa. The next lap you might be, I'm on point. And they're having a bad lap and you help each other through that lap. And that's just the beauty of it. Cool.
That's cool you talk about the vibe because it creates until you've been to one you don't actually understand, like they call it like tent village, which is we're around the corral, so you've got all the gazebos or tents or however everyone's got their stuff set up around the corral, and you got the start finish the start finish line for every hour, and there's that, like you say, that sense of community because everyone supports each other. Like whether you're coming in 45 minutes or you're coming in 59 minutes, you know, sometimes you get the biggest cheer from the people that are coming in that 58, 59, because they turn around and head back out.
Yeah.
And then it's the same for like the supporters. You know, the supporters, once the athletes head off on the hour.
Like, how's your athlete?
Yeah,
Do they need salt tablets?
There's a lot of
his
chat.
feet were bad on that day. I've got some stuff for you. Come over to my tent.
And that's it. You know, like you share your resources. You know, like you help each other out, and you go and have a beer, or you know, you just chill out. You create your own little community, and then you look at your watch and you go,
shoot, they're going to
be back surely. So you head off and get the old jet ball on, or get a bit of
people share food, like make. I don't know, go and share lasagna, get pizzas. Like it's really.
I stole Hayden's food.
You did.
I had to text the wife and be like, "Can you get me some more salt and vinegar chips, please?"
And that's it, right? So you're learning, right? So you need more food, and it's amazing how much food you get through. Like it's always awesome going for that shop on the day or 2 days before, because you get the full make a trolley with whatever you pretty much want, whatever.
And your body, like, you can tell, like, it craves things. You're like, oh, I really want that. Like the chips, for example. I was like, oh, you obviously your body needs salt. But it's funny, like you listening to your body and what it needs. You know, like each lap, I was like, oh, okay, I think it needs. It's so. I think. It was a lot of fun. Definitely.
Cool.
Understand why you love it.
Did you get a few turn up?
We did.
So at Hatia, we kept it in-house. We only have a membership of 65, and we had 43 people show up.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's a nice number.
So we kept it in-house because we had council permission, but it was only for like 50 people to come along.
Right.
So we didn't want to promote it and have like 100 people rock up just in case, you know.
Yeah.
But as a test event, I think it went really well. But we're probably going to look for somewhere in the Glenbervie Forest to do it next time.
Yeah,
So,
cool. Yeah. Glenbervie's one of our training grounds,
Yeah.
And we've often thought if you were going to do it, Glenbervie would be a good spot.
Yeah.
Okay, going back to the start. Sorry.
We're
kind of going back to the beginning.
That's totally fine, ma'am. That's all good.
So, Helen, I know you're from the Hawke's Bay, and Chris, you're from Whangarei. So how did you meet?
You go on this one.
So we met through a previous job in Fens, Firemen's New Zealand.
Awesome.
So both firefighters.
Yeah. Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
But were you firefighters together in
up here?
Okay, cool.
Whangarei. Yeah. And then last year, Helen shot off to Antarctica.
As you do.
Yeah.
Why?
For work, I was lucky enough to go down.
Do they get fires in Antarctica?
No. You'd be surprised, actually. No, for the airfield, Phoenix Airfield at Antarctica, I worked for the Americans at McMurdo Base as a firey, and you can't land a plane down there without firefighters. And so I was lucky enough to go and do the winter season, which was 8 months, and
so we just kept in touch, and I started doing a bit of running myself just for my mental health and various other reasons, and then I entered the Revenant ultra venture race down the South Island, and I was sort of once I had my entry confirmed by Scotty Winton, the race director, I was like, I probably should have a look at my training. So got the old emails to Helen. She unofficially started training me. That's sort of asked for a bit of help, and it's then from there. Yeah.
That's a cool story. That's funny that it stemmed from these types of events.
That's it.
I was actually going to joke about, like, did you meet on a start line or something? But that's kind of better.
Well, I almost met at the start line in regards to us kicking off as a couple, because he did his first run, never really done an ultra before or an event as such. So he decided he'd do the Taupo 100 to get the head wrapped around doing 100 Ks, which is a completely different race to the Revenant itself. But knowing that you could go that long and you grow through what you go through. So if he'd gone through that, he could then turn up to Revenant with the thought in his head, he's clocked 100 Ks on the legs before. So anyway, I was missing running and green stuff and the outdoors by being down in Antarctica, where none of that is achievable. So I would sit on a treadmill, or how I actually got through was writing this program for Chris. Having done Revenant a couple times before myself, I wasn't going to be able to come off the ice and go straight into an event like that. So I could turn up at his start line for Revenant and see him, tackle all the demons that come with that and the achievements and the dopamine and everything else.
So did you like each other before that though?
Oh, look, he's a character. No, actually, we ended up emailing almost every day I was on ice, which mentally for me, especially going through 3 months of darkness during those 8 months and the isolation and missing home and everything else, I didn't really hear from a lot of other people, and the novelty of being in Antarctica does wear off, unfortunately. It's such a beautiful place. Glad I ticked the box, but I was pretty keen to see him, and
it's like you kept each other going, because you were keeping him going through his training. He was keeping you going through
absolutely
the Antarctica.
And now we share all sorts of hard things. From there, it went to God Zone and doing God Zone together. Really, if you can do an adventure race, especially God Zone and Fjordland together, then I think everything else in life might be a little bit easier.
Oh, cool. So, that's an awesome story.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that.
No worries.
So how did His and Hers Event Kitz begin?
That's a great question. So I guess Helen just touched on it. So for God Zone, we entered God Zone, what was it? March, yeah. And it was in South like Fjordland. Te Anau was the start line. So for us up here being in Northland, logistically getting everything we needed from here or down to Te Anau was a logistical nightmare, to be quite honest.
For 4 people plus
for 4 of us, and we were sourcing a little bit of gear for one of our other team members, because he was coming from South Pole. He'd been at South Pole.
Yeah, South Pole. So straight off the ice into God Zone.
Welcome
to New Zealand.
Yeah, so we had to source extra gear for him. So we battled through that, and we were lucky enough to have another team member. Yeah, we big bro and stole gear from pretty much every part of the country. We're pretty lucky, to be honest, with people that helped us out. Forever grateful to them for lending us the gear and letting us use it, and for that sort of. It's not, you can't just grab it for a couple of 3 days. It was like a month, because we had to fly it down there, then we had to sit down there and fly back. So we came out of that, and then we went to, what's the next one? We went straight from there into Riverhead. Same thing again. We had to big bro and steal some gear for that one. And then, Christchurch for Crazies, same thing. Ring around people in Christchurch.
It was actually Dead Cow.
And then we went to Aussie for Dead Cow Masters. Helen was at one of the 7 New Zealanders that was over there for it. And same thing again, had to source gear from in Australia. We had to look through hiring it, and then, with a backyard, you don't know how long you need it for. You're going to need it for 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. Then you got to transport it, because it was in Nanango.
More time off work to sort it.
Yeah, so we sort of sat down, we come up with this idea, we're like, well, why don't we have something that we can offer the running community? Basically for the backyard ultras is where it sort of started, I guess. That's the market that not the market, what we sort of built it around. We took some bits of kit that we thought were pretty essential. So for every backyard ultra each athlete gets a 3x3 or 3x4 square allocation. So that works perfect for a gazebo. So we've got a 3x3 gazebo with 4 sides, so it can be all closed in. The weather turns to custards, or you want to be private, and a lot of people do. I sort of like being a little bit private when I'm doing mine. Just close it all up, and then a reclining chair, chili bin, table, organiser that hangs on the side, and we stole that idea off Sam Harvey. We saw it work for him, and we're like, it sort of works. So we got one of those, and a 8-litre container, which you can fit all your food, or you can use the container for it if you want. And then we've got a raft of other extras that we've just built on over time. So that's sort of where the idea came about. And then we had this idea, and we talked about it, and we didn't want to let it out because we'd researched that no one else was doing it. So then we were real hesitant about sort of, do we try and sound people out? Do we, you know, like it was a real awkward sort of moment for a month there. And then we went down to Crazy's in Christchurch, and we went out to dinner with a good friend of ours, Sean Collins, who's at Lactic Turkey Events, Sean and Mads. And
Chris McDonald.
Yeah, Chris McDonald.
Running with Beards.
And we just sat down and had a beer, and then all of a sudden we're talking about this business to a race director, and oh man, like we're forever grateful to those two, you know, like they gave us the confidence and the support to go, man, you guys should just jump on it, and so giving of their time from that moment for what we wanted to.
Just roller coasted.
Yeah, and then it just...
The support's been unreal.
Yeah, then the next day, Sean was like, "Oh, do you want to go for a beer down at another pub?" And we're like, "Oh, yeah, good." Because I was running the next day, and it's like, "Oh, yeah, okay." So he brings Chris McDonald along. We'd never met this guy before, and he's running with Beards. Great guy, like great thing what they do, and
he MCs.
Most of the events. Yeah, great guy. Yeah, lovely guy, and. Sean was like, "Oh, so these guys are going to pitch this idea to you," and we're like, going from not wanting to tell anyone to like all of a sudden two people know in the running community were like, "Oh, someone's going to take this idea." Yeah. And then the next day at the event, we'd finished at 2 o'clock in the morning. Two more race directors were sitting there. We're having a few beers like 2 in the morning, and Sean was like, "Oh, these guys got this business idea, and they're going to tell you about it." And then we're like, "Oh no, what's going on?" Yeah. So then we sort of came back from that, and we're like, "Oh."
We were on a high, and 4 weeks later, we'd handed in our resignation, which I think shocked a lot of people.
Wow. Yeah. So
it's 5.
Fens. Yeah. So, you know, we had 3 race directors, you know, fully supportive, you know, great people, you know, like I said before, forever grateful to those guys. You know, we keep in touch with them all the time, and they just gave us the confidence and support to go and do it. So, so then it was just got the old email going, and reached out to a few suppliers, and we're like trying to sell this idea that hadn't been done anywhere. So there's a few people that were like on the fence.
What do you do?
What do you do? What are you trying to achieve here? And we're lucky enough that Austrail New Zealand, sort of liked what we're on about and helped us out. You know, gave us pretty good discount, getting some gear, and we put it all together. And
we almost have to sell Backyard Ultras to sell ourselves. But we're not limiting ourselves to just the Backyard Ultra. It's any 24-hour plus events that may or may not need us, and that could be from anything, from even motocross to, I'm not even sure yet, adventure racing and
it might seem like we're tailoring to the backyard, but I guess that's where the idea and the inception of what we started up, of course, came from. You know, so. And like how I said, you know, we support all the Backyard Ultras in New Zealand because, you know, without them we aren't what we are now. So, you know, we're forever grateful to those race directors, and you know, we work pretty closely with them and try and make the experience good for us and the people that hire our gear. And so that was the inception of it.
I think that's so cool. That's kind of like how this podcast started. Was Hannah and I were talking about it one day, and then suddenly 2 or 3 other people heard about it, and then that's what encouraged us to actually start it. Is 3 or 4 motivated people around you, who are just like, just do it and see how.
It's that confirmation. It's a great idea. Like go for it.
And you know, a good friend of ours, Chris Taylor down in the South Island, like we just caught up with him in Arrowtown. He just like, man, I just love what you guys did. And it's just that alone, you know, is like just the support from other people that, you know, you haven't known for a long time, and to give you the confidence to go and do it. And then, you know, and we were the same, bro, like when a few people started hearing about it, and we're like, if we don't jump on it, someone else is going to jump on it, then we're going to sit there going, oh man, like, you know, could have, would have, should have. So, you know, we just jumped right in, and here we are now. And it's
who knows where it will go.
Yeah, and that's it. That's the beauty of it. You know, we've got no I hope if we have to go and borrow money, no one listens to this, but we've got no real expectations of where it's going to go, but we're pretty broad, like we're not just tunnel vision of this is where it's going to be. Like we want to go, I call it the reverse triangle. I don't know what the technical terms are, but if another friend of ours that helped us out at the start with the business stuff, Mark Whittian, if he's listening to this, he'll probably ring me and go, hey bro, I thought I'd taught you about that. So I call it the reverse triangle. Yeah, we've got this start point and we just want to go both ways, and just expand and do whatever we can do to support the running community. And it might not be we might be able to find something that a 12-hour event or a shorter event might require. And we've had someone reach out to ask if we'd hire different parts of kit for a multi-sport. So there's room there to move. So
you could, in theory, you could do it for like a triathlon if you wanted to.
Yeah, man. Yeah. There's no limitation.
There's nothing holding you back.
No.
Hey.
No. So we've got it all, and that's the people. I guess we hire. You jump on the website and the basic kit is you get everything. But we're open to people reaching out to us and going, hey, look, can we just hire 10 gazebos and we'd come up with a rate.
We're getting great feedback from the folk that travel to these events because they can just turn up. We've set it up for them. They're broken at the end of their event usually, and they can just walk away, and we pack it down and clean, and people got flights to catch, hotels, families. We understand, and so it could be for whatever. It's convenience, and we're getting travellers from Aussie now coming to these events and vice versa. So it could go overseas even. We're looking at that as well. So who knows? We'll see.
Started in Mangatapuri, going up.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. So can you just talk about what the benefit is to someone who wants to use your guys' service? I mean, you've sort of
we've touched on it,
but give us your elevator pitch of what it can do. I suppose it's just the convenience, right? If you don't have all the gear, you don't want a big borrow and steal, or get the vehicle that fits it, or take more time off work organising it. It's we don't get preferential spots at these events, but what we can do is hopefully get in with the race director and work with them to allocate you a spot. So when you turn up, depending on how long you intend to go at these events, you can just rock in with your food from the supermarket. We hire extras, so we know ourselves from being at events, crazies drop below zero. And then on the flip side, that you've got Arrowtown that will go well into the late 20s for temperature-wise. So we hire the heaters, we hire the fans, we give you all these things that we think you'll need for that event. And it takes the guessing game out, especially if you haven't done it before. We don't usually find that people that are doing these all the time will probably come to us unless they need, the convenience again. But it's just easy. And you don't have to think about packing it up and returning it and cleaning it and everything like that. I just wouldn't even know where to start. And if you're flying from, say, Whangarei to the South Island for an event, what am I going to pack my heater and my tent and obviously it's just not practical.
So we had at the start when we floated the idea, that was one of the things we got back from another mate of ours was like, I've just taken my excuse away for not doing an event in the South Island. Because
exactly. Yeah. No, that's what would stop me. It's like,
now I have to go.
How am I going to logistically do this?
Yeah.
So Murray Taylor, get down to the South Island, bro, and do an event.
Yeah, he will.
He'll get down. But so, and that's the thing, so traveling, and you talk about time off work, and so we were having to travel on a Thursday morning to anywhere. To pick up gear in the afternoon. So that's another night's accommodation if you're not lucky enough to have someone in that town or wherever you're staying. And then on the Friday, you got to go and set up, and vice versa at the back end of it. So say you finished on Sunday or you went through to Monday, then you got to clean it all up, return it to whoever you've big bro's stolen it off, and then fly home, So it's all time. So, you can fly on a Friday afternoon to Christchurch, pretty reasonable out of Auckland, turn up, go to the supermarket, grab some food and that, turn up the next morning, and you're good to go and fly out, whatever you set your target at, or if you set your target, or have a flexi flight home, and we'll go in there and pack it all up. You don't have to worry about taking it all back and hiring a vehicle and potentially a trailer to pick it all up.
Oh my gosh, good point.
And I'll touch on the quality just quickly, because we've seen the need to have sturdy, stable, and storm-worthy tents. We've been to a few events where, no kidding, these things have flown away, and it's all hands on deck to hold them down. So what we can promise you is that we'll promise.
We're promising stuff.
You'll be like standing here like we've promised this. You're like holding onto the tent.
Things just took a turn right there.
This guy's gone and bought a power tool to make sure that these things are screwed into the ground pretty strong, and I will vouch for that. They are waterproof, and you will get good quality. And we're talking about luxury recliner chairs, and it's almost like glamp running if you want it to be. But
you have to put a disclaimer on this one.
Yeah. What's your website?
His and Hers Events.co.nz, because again, we don't want to strong arm ourselves into one thing only, so who knows where that will go. But His and Hers Events.co.nz, and from there you'll see pictures of previous
what you
stuff
do.
exactly, and a story about ourselves if you want to learn more about that, and then all the events that we are catering to at the moment, and we will be adding more in the future as well, including our own events potentially.
Nice. That's cool. So, tell us about the Whangarei 512 Challenge. This is a new event that you guys have created?
Yeah. So there's a couple things here. Personally for us, training for the Revenant, which is 200 kilometres, New Zealand's hardest adventure ultra race, which includes no trail, a lot of up and down. I think 4,500 metres of elevation.
About 16,000 metres of it if you complete it.
So you have
to navigate it as well, right?
Map and compass.
No, it's a good one.
Yeah.
So training for that up in Northland is tough, because we are vertically challenged here.
we are vertically challenged up here.
Maybe not Chris. He's 7 foot tall over there. But no, we don't have the luxury of the southern height. So unless we do Mount Manaia repeats or out to Smugglers and things like that, we do struggle to get time on the legs up on these hills. So what we found was, why don't we loop them all together and make a day of it? And so we started doing that ourselves, and we had such a good time. And when you're out running, this is when all your great ideas come about, and especially when you're with other people. And so we were like, why don't we make this a challenge, man, and put this to the locals? Like, the locals need this. And it's just kind of, I don't know, because we had the guts to go and do the His and Hers events thing, we're like, well, it's not going to stop us from putting out a challenge to the folk here in Whangarei and give them something to aim for. Why we've done it the way we've done it, we wanted to make it a challenge, but achievable challenge. And what I mean by that is anybody can train for anything and get it done. And saying that, though, it is tough. It does require some fitness and some mental strength, and it would be good to train for. Most of the tracks are walkable, and some are even runnable, especially coming down. But Horakaka itself is a little bit more tricky underfoot. It's shallow route, a little bit slippery. You do have to look at the GPX files that we have linked onto the site.
That is a technical trail, pretty much, except for the first sort of 3K in, and then the rest of it's a technical trail. Of all of them, would be the most technical.
Why we've done it from January to April, obviously the weather will be better in Northland during that time. We don't want people to be... We're busy these days, so committing to
one event
or one day, people sometimes just can't do it. And so we've given you the luxury of being able to choose on your terms. You could be a shift worker, you might not get weekends off, whatever. You can go and do this whenever you like to fit around your lifestyle. Get a group of people, train for it, go and do it, make it. The weather this week's great. Or even if you've gone and had an attempt and it hasn't gone well for you, It doesn't mean that is over for you. You can come back a week, 2 weeks, even a couple of days later, go out and crack on with it again, and then submit your times.
Yeah.
Here in Northland, we have found that you have to get council consent, like you might have mentioned for the Hatia Loop challenge that you recently did, or DOC. There's a lot of carry dieback and things like that. Traffic control, all these concessions you need to get to hold an event can also stop people from creating one in general. So we thought, because these are public tracks, people get to choose when they do it. Over that 4-month period, we're not going to have a huge amount of people in one day on these trails.
It's not going to overpopulate the tracks.
Absolutely. And so coming to the end of that, we've already seen by creating this challenge, we're bringing attention to not only the local tracks, but people are getting out and doing them, and it's just so rewarding. Yeah, it doesn't cost a fortune to do. You'll get, if you do complete it, a Whangarei 512 shirt. It will have all the supporters, Trek, Trail and Fish. If you sign up, you get 15% off. We've got Pumping Iron helping us out as well. And if anybody jumps on board, and we'll be reaching out to a couple other local places, there'll be some prizes up for grabs and things like that. There are a few hardcore folk out there that are training that really want to take it seriously.
I've seen you sharing them on your Instagram page. Yeah,
there'll be a minted coin for the fastest known time for the male and female winner. Each year will be something different. But it's people. The drive time is included in that 12 hours, folks. So please don't send us your speeding tickets.
Okay, so what are the 5 summits that must be climbed in the 12 hours?
Yeah, so in the 12 hours, in no particular order, you've got Parahaka in the middle of town, the icon. You got Mount Manaia, Horakaka, and the Tangihua Forest. You've got Bream Head, and you've got Mount Lion. The 5. So combined, and this is off our watches, it's about 2,330 metres of vertical gain over the 5.
My legs just cramped, Hannah.
Come on. And like Helen said, like, they're all pretty reasonable tracks to run. You know, like run, walk, hike, however you see fit to complete it. So the challenge starts when you pick your first one. So we haven't set a particular order of how you want to do them, so it's entirely up to you. So we thought that'd be a pretty cool challenge in itself to work out the logistics of how you're going to do it, drive time, having your food, and as opposed to just turning up, doing it, going to the next one, turn up. So there's a bit more logistical stuff going on as opposed to just climbing a mountain. Yeah. And like Hal said, you know, like, it's beautiful. Like, we don't appreciate what we have. Like, on a good day when you climb these
stunning views.
It's stunning, you know.
Like, wildlife.
We are really lucky up here.
Yeah, right? And we are, and you know, so we don't have the big massive climbs like they do in the South Island or Central North Island, but you know, you put those together, like you say, 2,330 metres, you'll feel it. Yeah, you'll feel it that afternoon, or you know, that morning, whenever you decide to do it, and you'll feel it the next day. So,
dude, I feel it just doing Mount Lion. Not even once.
Stairs are horrific.
And it's, you know, like there's stairs and
shallow
there's
roots,
there's technical, and then there's, you know, a bit of
orange triangles to look for.
Yeah, so it's a bit of everything, and it's and that's all part of what we wanted to, like, we've done it multiple times,
and we're bringing people to the north too.
Yeah, so we've got our first
race director from
Scenic Circles and Timaroos coming up to do it.
Choice.
Yeah. So
we're
showcasing Northland, you know, bringing someone up to Northland from the South Island, you know. So
that's cool.
And you know, I have to say, like Helen said, like, they're all public tracks, and so you know, we hope that people are respectful to the track, to the carry dieback and user stations, and what you carry in is what you carry out. Less what's ever in the wrapper. You know, don't leave the rubbish in there. And have a look on the website, because some have water and toilets and some don't. So that's all part of the logistics around it as well. And
And where you finish, you could get fish and chips at the local pub, or go for a swim at Oceans Beach. And I think doing it in a group would be really neat.
Bro, that would be so cool.
Yeah, make a day of it. And,
little road trip in between.
Yeah. So it starts when you start your first start point, and it finishes when you get back off your fifth mountain back to the finish. So with your So with the fastest known times we're going to take just for the running of the bounding sections, and then we'll take the travel out of it. But to do it in the 12 hours, you have to include the travel time. So that's all part of the logistics
and a
around
photo
it.
at the top.
And a photo,
Yeah, all the instructions are on your website. What was your website again? Sorry, I don't have my
His and Hers events.co.nz.
Yeah, and they're really clear instructions, really easy to follow. So
I think we have
if I could get my head around it, anyone can.
Yeah, I think we've got a bit of an issue with the GPX file for Horakaka. We've been so we'll.
But that's also on the Tangihua forest website as well. But you can reach out to any of our socials.
And we can just forward you the GPX.
Well.
Nice. Yeah. So how much is it to enter?
$65.
Yeah.
So
it's a good quality T-shirt if you do the challenge.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're going to
$5 of that. Every entry goes to the Blind Vision, Camo.
Camo Road there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We thought we'd give back as well.
Oh, that's
and just
awesome.
try and keep it local and.
Yeah. And sorry, just you've touched on this, but what's the prize? The
fastest known times will get hopefully a minted coin.
Yeah.
And that will change every year. That will go to the fastest known time for the female and male finishers. Yeah. And for everyone that does the challenge, that completes the challenge will get this T-shirt.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yep. Awesome. Yeah, and like we mentioned before, shout out to Des and Manna that sponsor your show as well. They came on board. They're really awesome, and you sign up, we send you a discount code 15% for their store, their online store. So what they're doing up there is pretty cool, and they look after us as well. So and we've reached out to a few other local businesses for prizes. So we want to
we'll probably do some spot prizes.
Yeah, local supporting locals and. Go from there really, and it's just cool to see. Like we had in the weekend, I think some couple of groups reached out and said they'd been out there training, done 3 or 4 of the Mongas, which is it's cool, man. They probably may not have done it had the challenge not been there. So we're getting people out.
That's exactly right. And
that's what we get a kick out of, because we train on all those mountains all the time, and you don't. Unless it's Parahaka, you don't really see the same people too often. So it's, and some people didn't even know Horakaka was out there.
Yeah.
So it's, which is, you can see it, so. Yeah, that's the cool aspect of it.
That's so cool. I reckon it'd be cool to get a group together like you guys mentioned, and just get a vibe and just smash it all out together.
Yeah, because they're supporting each other, right?
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about.
You start to see a T-shirt around town, you're like,
But it's like, and it's not strength in numbers, but when you got a group here, you sort of push each other along. And like we said before,
create your own community.
It's not easy. Like we're not going to sit here and say that it's something that
it's achievable.
It's definitely achievable. Yep.
Yeah.
When we redid it, just to confirm a few figures in that, we went well into the night because we started rather late in the afternoon. So we still did it with a fair amount of time spare, and we stopped for a bit of food and stuff as well. So it's most definitely achievable.
All right, so I guess the next logical question is, do you have any challenges lined up for the future? What's in store for you guys?
we do, and there's some things in the pipeline but coming back to the backyard ultra scene, we need something in the north. We do, and like you touched on Glen Bevy, and that's an awesome spot, and whether somebody else does it or we get our hand at it, we want to see something up in the north for ultra running anyway. And that's part of the community, is that you support each other. It doesn't matter who ends up doing it. We have a few other interesting challenges up our sleeves. That it's really finding location, I think, is where we're at. But yeah, we're not afraid to put something out there when we can, get all our ducks lined up.
I suppose you don't want to say too much. You don't want people to steal your ideas, eh?
It's the location, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Like, if we could launch it tomorrow, we would.
Yeah, it's not about people pinching the idea. As such, it's, location's quite a big one. So we're waiting to hear back on a few different places in Northland, I'll say, not particularly Whangarei as such. Once we can nail down a couple of those, then you'll probably see something pop up relatively quickly. Because everything else is sort of there ready to go, and it's just about having that location.
Well, we're keen, eh, Hayden?
Fuck yeah. I was spitballing this at work the other day. I said, surely there's like a kumara farmer out in Dargaville who's got a big enough like space on their property to set up an event area or whatever, and that way you don't have to have traffic management involved. You can just do.
And mate, we have been trying to find a 6.7k loop everywhere, and it's actually a lot tougher than you think.
I know.
We've run a lot of trail just trying to find a 6.7k loop. That's already formed. And that's
runnable and enjoyable, and it showcases Northland.
And we go back to talking about elevation. And it's we laugh about this all the time, because we can get a 6.7k loop, but the elevation is actually
it's higher
than you think when you do it around here. Yeah, because it's undulating. And it all adds up over time. So over that 6.7k, so it's like you say, Kumara Farmer Dale. It's
go around there.
But there's a few hurdles you got to jump over and boxes you got to tick. So we've definitely something there, and we hope that. And we're not gonna what's the word I'm looking for here? Not gonna not support anyone else that does it. We're going to get right in behind it, and if someone else does or's got an idea and they want to reach out to help out, if we can help them or offer anything, we're right in behind it. It's not to help each other and bring an ultra event to Northland, because it has been talked about multiple times. Different people we've talked to now, and
there are so many runners that I know that are just screaming out for one, and it's just,
that's it, man. Like we talked about it before, we know a few that we just straight away we're like, man, these guys should give this a crack, because they'd be awesome at it, it's and might be logistical nightmare to travel. So same old thing. If you can bring one here, they can do it, showcase themselves to the rest of New Zealand, because definitely in the backyard scene, there's a New Zealand satellite team top, so there's that Destroy for, which is held biannually if they really get into it. So I think Northland needs an ultra event of some description, 50k plus, if it can be achieved somewhere, and someone's got a prime Kumara patch, or a massive station we can just go and run around or something like
that.
Shout
out to all the farm owners out there.
Look us up and send us an email. We'll come and chat.
No, that's cool. Anything else you guys want to chat about?
No, I think you guys have covered it really. Just super grateful to you guys starting up the podcast for. Well, obviously, it's Whangarei driven, but that's really neat, and I think there's some cool things that are coming for us all in the Northland region. So really grateful to you guys for doing it.
That's cool.
Thanks for reaching out and walking straight up to me at a young fellas cricket game. I was like, what?
Joker's walking at me like he knows me.
So walking straight at me, I was like, man, what's this dude up to? He's like, you're Chris. I was like, yeah. I was like, oh, yeah, bro. So
I know that guy.
Yeah, I know that guy.
Gonna get him on the podcast. Yeah.
So yeah, that's where that started. So
no, that's cool. That's cool.
All right. Thanks, Chris and Helen, for your time today. I've personally found it so insightful.
Oh, cool.
And actually quite inspirational. Like, I'm quite keen to, definitely give something like this a go.
Cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. And also, obviously, thanks to our listener, and a massive thank you to our show sponsor, Trek Trail and Fish, who also sponsor Chris and Helen and their His and Her Event Kitz. All right, they have a special this month. You can get 2 pairs of features and you'll get the 3rd pair free. Mm-hmm. Awesome. They're pretty cool socks too, Hayden?
Yeah, I love them.
Yeah, Hayden wears them and I'm quite keen to go and get some. They look awesome. If you're new to the Run Adjacent podcast, please make sure you follow or subscribe on the platform that you're listening to. You can also find us at Run Adjacent on Instagram and Facebook. And until next time, happy running!
Yeah, it's so corny.
It is so cool. You love it. You love it that way.